A little more on one of my favorite subjects, the supposed clash of civilizations taking place. I don't think that what's happening right now is anything new, and if it's managed correctly, it doesn't really need to get out of hand. The clash of civilizations, of course, that I'm referring to is the supposed clash between the Islamic and the Western worlds. The reason why I say that it's nothing new is there are historical precedents to this kind of culture clash. Two ways of looking at the world that seem to be irreconcilable on the surface, but maybe they aren't. The first one that I am aware of is that which took place between the Roman Empire, the expanding Roman Empire, and ancient Judea, the ancient Hebrews. For strategic reasons, the Romans simply, in a way, had no choice but to control Judea. They had to keep the Persians from getting access to the Mediterranean Sea, so Judea was unbelievably strategically important to them. So successive Roman governors of Judea, or Roman military commanders, were given very simple orders: keep Judea quiet. If you have to do so by being harsh, so be it. If you have to do it by being lenient, so be it. So the ancient Hebrews were subjected to this on-again, off-again kind of blowing hot and cold from Rome, where sometimes they were cracked down on harshly and other times they were quite openly tolerated. There was another element in this. Judea had a very large Greek-speaking pagan population, and the frictions between these two peoples, the ancient Greeks and the ancient Hebrews, were very, very strong. The frictions often between these two communities often were more likely to touch off trouble than any desire to throw off the yoke of the Romans. Two very, very different cultures. The ancient Greeks had a relatively open and liberal view of life, and the ancient Hebrews had a very conservative one. The situation was eventually brought to a head when some Greek-speaking people in Judea deliberately offended Jewish religious sensibilities by conducting a sacrifice of some birds right in front of a synagogue, and that was simply too much for the Hebrews to tolerate. They simply couldn't deal with it. Now, it's a convoluted, tragic story that, in hindsight, seems to have been so completely unnecessary. The Romans didn't have to do what they did, ultimately. But there was always that feeling of inevitability. One side was going to have to completely destroy the other. Eventually, the rebellion was put down, and the Hebrews were utterly defeated and scattered throughout the Roman Empire, and the ancient kingdom of Judea ceased to exist. This, to my mind, in many ways mirrors the situation that you see with the West and the Islamic world. The United States and Western Europe desperately need Gulf oil, the oil of the Persian Gulf. They don't really have the option of weaning themselves off the stuff yet. But the people who live in the Persian Gulf are extremely socially conservative, at least by comparison. So you have a similar situation to the ancient Greeks and the ancient Hebrews in the modern world, where two ostensibly irreconcilable points of view are confronting each other, and in an off-again, on-again kind of way, involving either goodwill or not so goodwill. I just hope that if this sort of thing is repeating itself, if the clash of civilizations that we saw in the ancient world between the social liberal and the social conservative, I hope that this one is solved in a much kinder and less categorical and less brutal way. We've still got time. We've still got time, and provided people of goodwill on both sides are willing to stand up and be heard and not let the hardliners on both sides gain all the airwaves, I believe that the clash can be something less harsh. It can be more just a cross-fertilization of two cultures. Thank you.